Oh, we're never gonna get there. Can't we go any faster?
Fleurville's not far away now, Captain.
What did you say, Paul? You're not going to call me Captain again, are you?
Forgive me, Papa. I assure you that at this speed, and if the horses hold up, we'll be there very soon.
To see my wife and my little Marguerite. I've waited so long for this day, I feared it would never come.
Goodbye, Blaze.
Goodbye, my little ladies.
We'll return tomorrow, Marie. And that's a promise, my dear.
We'll be waiting for you, Madame de Rosbourg.
Goodbye, lovely Miss Marguerite. How proud your father would be of you if he were here.
My papa is going to come home, I know he is. And Paul will be with him, right, Sophie?
I hope so with all my heart, Marguerite.
We all hope so.
Paul, are you certain you want to walk the rest of the way?
Yes, Father. We're almost there now. How can I say this to you? You're going to see your family, but nobody's waiting to see me. My parents, my aunt, Sophie, they're all gone, and I have to get accustomed to that.
You know Madame de Fleurville and her two daughters?
Yes, but it's too painful to be with Camille and Madeleine without Sophie.
I understand, my boy. Go on, but don't take too much time. You know, I'm never totally happy when you're far from me.
I'll try not to be late. Drive on!
Yeah.
Blaze's face changes completely when he looks at Françoise and Marie. He can't take his eyes off them. You'd think he was afraid they'll disappear. You're very quiet, Sophie. What are you thinking about? I was thinking about how I shall never see my papa and mama again. It's so sad. Paul is all I have left, and I don't even know if I have the right to hope.
Well, of course you have the right. In fact, it's your duty. You'll see, Paul and Papa will come home.
Wishes don't always come true, Marguerite. Don't give up, Sophie.
Come along, children. Hurry now.
Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
Faster! Faster!
Mama, what is it? Mama!
Faster! Faster! My darling! My dear wife!
It's you. It's you. It's really you.
My dear, wonderful wife. Oh, for 5 years, I've lived dreaming about this instant.
Why, yes, Auntie, I'm certain I heard a carriage.
Marguerite! Oh, my lovely little child.
Paul! Paul? Paul? Paul isn't there. He's not here.
Sophie? Sophie de Rosbourg, is it possible?
Oh, Captain. Paul isn't with you? Is he...
He's alive and well, Sophie.
Paul is alive?
Calm down now, my child. I left him not far from here. He wanted to walk a bit and think. He'll be arriving any second now, Sophie.
I know where he is. Sophie, wait for us.
Leave her, Camille.
Poor child. What terrible memories it must bring back. But where's her father? How is it that she's here with you?
Her father passed away a few years ago.
Madame de Fleurville took Sophie in just as she so kindly consented to take in Marguerite and me.
Dear Madame, how can I ever return your generosity?
Your friendship will be thanks enough, dear sir.
That was very, very good, Paul. Now, Sophie, it's your turn. Sophie, we're waiting. You haven't paid the slightest attention today, and so you will copy all these verses for tomorrow's lesson.
If you had been able to recite the verses, you wouldn't have to write them out.
You could have whispered louder so that I could hear you.
Oh, pardon me for not shouting at the top of my lungs.
Paul! Paul! Paul, where are you? It's me, Sophie! Paul!
It's really you? All these years, I thought I'd never see you again. That you were...
I too was afraid you were dead, and... Oh, Paul, this is the happiest day of my life. My heart is about to explode. You're here. You've come back, Paul.
I found my Sophie again.
I was afraid you would never return. And here you are, alive, alive. Paul is alive, alive. You're really here.
It was so painful to think of returning and you not being here. I couldn't bring myself to even think of being in Fleurville without you.
But I live there now. Madame de Fleurville looks after me.
And my uncle?
He died, Paul. He caught a fever in America, and Madame Ficini decided to come to France after they were married. And Papa...
Huh? Who?
Madame Ficini and Papa. But she became nasty and mean. It was horrible. Then when it was just the two of us, she decided we would leave America.
But who is this Madame Ficini you're talking about?
My stepmother, Paul. She's in Italy now.
Huh?
Don't you understand?
No.
It doesn't matter. I'll explain later. Come along now.
It would seem that Paul and Sophie have found each other.
Here we are. You know Madame de Fleurville?
Dear Paul, how wonderful to see you again. Come, let me give you a hug.
Madame de Fleurville.
Ah, you haven't met Madame de Rosbourg.
My dear son, I'd like to introduce you to my wife. My darling, here is the bravest, the most generous lad I have ever known, and so love him as I have learned to.
Paul, I'm so delighted to meet you.
I think your husband overestimates me.
Paul, come. You remember Camille and Madeleine and Jean and Leon?
Of course I do.
I'm so very glad that you were able to make it home.
What's about me? I haven't met Paul. And he hasn't met me. Oh, I'm sorry, Marguerite. Paul, this is the captain's daughter. She's the one I play with nearly all the time.
And argue with.
That's true. Sophie never wanted to talk about you.
Why not, Sophie? Did you forget me?
You slept in my heart, and because I thought you were dead, I didn't dare wake you. And I was so unhappy. I couldn't talk about you.
We knew how much Sophie missed you, but we tried to help.
Even when we were smaller, you were very fond of my cousin.
You must be famished after such a long journey.
Everything is so delicious.
Wait, you haven't tried these yet. And you must taste these as well.
Sophie, stop. I can't possibly eat all of this.
This is certainly quite a change from what we've been eating these past years, eh, son?
Sophie, now you can tell me what happened with you and this Madame Ficini.
She beat me all of the time. Every day it would be either a spanking or the whip.
I'll beat her to a pulp if I ever see that witch.
She sounds like a monster.
That's exactly what she is. A real monster. She looks like an ogress, and what's more, she eats like one. I'm Madame Ficini, and I want to eat. I want to eat everything. More! And you should have seen the way she dressed. Dear Madame, thank you, but this is an old dress. I wore it to a ball long ago. It's become something to wear in the country. Where are all my rings, my feathers, my petticoats? And she spoke to Sophie in a gruff, frightening voice. I'm very glad that she's far away.
And we're ever so glad to have another sister, aren't we, Madeleine? Oh, yes, a real younger sister.
Sophie, what's come over you, dear?
It's all thanks to you.
My darling child.
He's trapped. Up quickly, he can't escape this time.
Go on, Leon.
Oh. We win!
You run so fast, even with Marguerite on your shoulders.
You're the biggest of all and you couldn't catch him. You beat us every time.
That's because when I was with the Indians, I learned how to run fast and jump over obstacles.
Well, you had to learn it somewhere.
Marguerite, I would love to see the cabins that you built.
This way.
How wonderful to have Paul here. We're also very glad to see him. He's just as friendly and funny as I remember him. And now he is also so big and so strong. He is handsome, Sophie, don't you think? My friends, I love him so very much, I'm delighted if you like him too.
Some girls have no taste at all. I cannot understand our cousins. They should look a bit closer. Leon, I fail to see what is so extraordinary about his false modesty and his thick forearm muscles. If I were you, I wouldn't go any further, Leon. I think you're upset because he beats you each time you race. Upset because he's fast and can climb? Why, he can't even read or write. He spent years with savages, and now he's like them. Leon, now stop. You're nasty. I don't want to talk to you. I'm not really in the mood for a lecture. I'll send for you if I change my mind. There's a good chance that I won't come. Jean, wait! He's just as silly as the others.
Very good work. Your cabins remind me of the huts we built on the island. Would you like me to help finish them?
That won't be necessary. We've managed on our own up to now, and we can finish our cabin without your assistance.
As you like.
Come, Paul. Sophie and I would be delighted if you helped us with our cabin.
Why did you speak in that manner to Paul? What's wrong with you, Leon?
Why, nothing, Camille. I just thought we would finish our cabin all alone.
Paul, tell us about the Indians.
Why don't I tell you about how we got settled?
There it is. We have built our new home.
Father!
Don't be frightened, son.
This may be a custom of theirs, Captain, but I don't like it.
Quiet plays don't make them angry. Remember, there are 1,000 of them.
You're absolutely right, sir. All right, you can tie me up. But don't make the rope too tight. Captain, I would never disobey an order of yours, but I am sick of being tied to this red devil of an Indian.
Blaze, up to now, they have treated us as friends, and they seem to want to continue. So if you don't mind, I want you to reciprocate. Do you hear? If you wish to survive. Huh?
Yes, Captain.
What did being tied mean to the Indians?
It meant that you would never leave them. That was why the chief decided to separate Blaze.
Poor Blaze, he told us about that.
I could never attach myself to such savage creatures. What a primitive life.
You're primitive yourself.
If you had no choice, you would do it as well.
Didn't you find your time long on the island?
Very long, but Captain de Rosbourg helped pass the time. He taught me history, grammar, arithmetic, and he drew huge maps with palm leaves to teach me geography.
You see? The savage is as educated as you are.
A great part of the time, we were on the lookout for a passing ship.
Ho! Ho! Your friends are here.
We're going hunting. We'll bring back something good. The boat is absolutely magnificent. It's going to take us to France.
Let's hope so.
The Indians taught me everything I know about nature.
Here they are. I knew it.
We learned how to take care of ourselves and feed ourselves thanks to them.
But how were you able to understand each other?
How? Didn't Paul tell you that he learned their language?
Oh, say something to us in Indian, Paul.
Pelkamihane, kuruglu.
What a nice sound. So gentle, too. What did you say exactly?
I said that I would never leave you ever, friend of my heart.
Bresini koluchine na hapra.
No, father, never, I can assure you.
What did Papa say?
He said, when you're older, you'll forget us. But I can swear to you that I shall never forget you and never leave you.
Ah, my son.
I have something to say, but not in Indian. It's getting very late, and we're ready for dinner. Well, Sophie, my dear, are you happy now?
Oh, yes, Madame.
You dreamed about them as well, father. I remember hearing you cry out in your sleep, Marguerite, Marguerite, my wife, my child.
We spoke quite often to each other about our loved ones. That was how I came to know you very well, my dear Sophie.
Really, Captain?
I think all other stories of the islands can wait until tomorrow. Paul must be exhausted.
Paul is indefatigable, I assure you. We've spent entire nights and days working, walking, looking out for boats. He's as robust as a sailor.
But those of us who haven't spent years roughing it do need our rest. It has been an exciting, happy, and terribly exhausting day, and we could all use a good night's sleep.
I could not agree with you more. Marguerite, Sophie, come and kiss me goodnight.
After so long, it's difficult to leave you even just for the night.
I shall prolong the evening a little by taking you up to your bed.
I have my papa again. Mama was right.
What was your mamma right about, Marguerite?
She said that you were the handsomest and the best of men. And that if it hadn't been for me, she'd have died of sorrow. She said she couldn't be completely happy without you. She said lots of other things too.
Do you promise to tell us more about your adventures tomorrow?
I promise, Jean.
I can hardly wait until then. Good night, everyone. Sleep well.
Good night, Camille.
Good night, Sophie.
Good night, Jean.
What are you waiting for, Sophie? Is something wrong?
I'm afraid that you won't be here tomorrow. I don't know if I can sleep.
I'll be here. And not only tomorrow, but always from now on. Have you forgotten our arguments and shouting, our fights? Do you recall all the times you wished I were far away and you would tell me so as well?
Oh, Paul, it was different then. I was much younger.
One thing hasn't changed, I see. Whenever it is, you were never wrong.
Thank you for having given me such a wonderful daughter. Such total joy. After so many years of desolation.
My husband.
Well, well, well. Here's an old acquaintance. Nice to see you again. I thought we'd buried her. Did you dig her up?
I needed her, Paul. She was the only one I could confide in for a long time. Paul, what's going to become of us?
I don't know, Sophie. But I can promise you one thing. I'll never let anyone hurt you again.